Yeah, that's still a thing, isn't it? We can perma sneak, perma cloak, and our damage is still stupidly high to kill people, even with all the nerfs to Titanborn. What is going on? Hey, it's Dan, and welcome back to Unified Gaming. Now in this one, I'm going to bring you Shadow Mark II. Just like the previous version, this is designed to have just enough damage to nuke people at range, and then to use all the other parts of the build to give us crazy sustain, so we can basically perma cloak, perma sneak, and select targets freely, which means this is incredibly powerful if you play this well. As with all of my build videos, I'm going to break down the skills, the gear, everything you need to know on how to play the build, and as a something slightly different, I'm also going to release a following video which is a pure gameplay commentary where I'm breaking down what am I doing in the build, what am I thinking, why am I thinking it, and this will hopefully give you some ideas of how to play the build much better, so do make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out on that. And if you do like these videos, then do leave a like. It does say to YouTube that I'm a better YouTuber and it really helps. And if you want to support myself and the channel, we do have a Patreon where you get access to the videos early, so do consider donating if you can. But with that out of the way, let's just get into it. For the race on this, we are an Orc. An Orc, in all honesty, is still the best. I've tested this in Stonethorn, and don't panic, I've also tested this in Markarth. It has been tested on week 2 of the PTS, so it might change, but I can't see it in all honesty. Orc is the highest damage, you get stamina, and you get weapon damage. The second best race was Dark Elf, the third was Khajiit, fourth was Wood Elf. Redguard was really close as well, but the Wood Elf kind of took it a bit because she had some more sustain. But those are the races that you need to use for this. Orc's best, Dark Elf, Khajiit. As for the Munderstone, it's not as complicated. It's just a shadow. It's really simple. And it's quite nice, it's quite fitting because the build is called Shadow. This gives us crazy critical strike damage. It means our stat pages don't look uber impressive, but the proof is in the pudding. Look how hard we're hitting people, as you can see in the gameplay right now. So the Shadow is honestly the best. I've tried the Lover, I've tried the Warrior, they just did not come anywhere close to this. Food wise, we're using Bewitched Sugar Skulls. This is for Magicka and Stamina. The health is nice, the health recovery is not that important, so Tri-Stat Food can work if it's purple. And attribute wise, we have all points into Stamina as we do normally. And then Vampire stage, I'm actually a stage 3 Vampire, which is incredibly unusual. We'll get kind of to that in a moment, but stage 3 is phenomenal. If you find the sustain too hard, stage 2 is absolutely fine. Stage 2 is the minimum, stage 3 currently is, the sweet spot. I'm now going to go through the skills, break down all the skills so you know exactly what to do, and give you a few options because there's a few different gear setups for today. So on the front bar, it's pretty straightforward. We have access to Lethal Arrow, which is your, spammable. We have Poison Injection. We have Camouflage Hunter, Blood Frenzy, Shadowy Disguise, and Incapacitating Strike. Same as before really. Things to notice, Poison Injection can be replaced with Silver Bolts, so that's in the Fighter's Guild. With one setup which I'll get to later on, Silver Bolts is better. However, with another setup, Poison Injection is better, so you can kind of pick as you see fit based on which setup. As for the Vampire toggle, you have 2 choices there as well. Personally, I've been able to kill people absolutely fine on the live server, and all of the gameplay you can see is with Stated Fury. I can kill people fine with this. This just heals me after the Vampire toggle, which is really helpful. But if you are lacking damage, you go, I still can't kill those people, you might be picking the wrong targets, or you need more oomph and need a bit more red in your boots, then get Simmering Frenzy. That will really give you the final oomph you need to get that kill. So Simmering Frenzy for more damage, Stated Fury for that just survivability and damage at the same time. And then we use Cloak like before for that guaranteed crit chance. And as I said in the previous video, having access to Incap is really valuable at point blank. You go snipe into Incap and you kill people almost instantly, but it also gives us access to the Hemorrhage passive in Assassination, which means we can get 10% more critical damage. Yes, the ultimate does count, so get that on there if you can. As for the bat bar, we're using Concealed Weapon. This is purely here for the movement speed buff. With this and with Race Against Time and the medium armor stuff and all the stuff we're using, we can actually hit the movement cap. So we hit the 200% movement cap, which is really quick. We have Leech and Strikes. This gives us free stamina back, so you can just cast this kind of before the fight and you get a bit of stamina back in the middle of the fight. It's not needed, it can be changed if you like, so I'm going to give you a few options in a moment. I have Cloak on this bar just for ease of access. Personally, if you get really good with this, you can take this off, but for most people you want Cloak on both bars. And then we have Rally for this, because this gives us major brutality, gives us extra regen, as you can see from Markarth, 20% in Markarth, which is nuts. And we get the really big heal. This heal is like your only heal on this build, so you really need to have access to a heal, and Rally is the best one for it. I have been asked, many times, what about forward momentum? And the answer is really short. Don't use it. Do not use it, okay? Forward momentum removes snares. If you're being snared, you are too close to the enemy, so you're probably attacking at the wrong range, or you're picking the wrong types of people to kill. So if you are kind of getting snared a lot, you're probably using the class wrong. And this isn't a criticism. All I'm going to say is go and watch the video that's after this one and just see how do I play it. That might help you out. That's what these videos are for. So Rally is better. Just try and learn to use it. And then for the ultimate, we're using Temporal Guard. This did see a nerf in Markarth, as you can see with the minor protection, but in Stonethorn and Markarth it's still really good. If you're somebody who doesn't have Sigic Order maxed out, you could use Soul Tether. This is a really good ultimate. But personally, I really enjoy using Barrier from the support skill line. With Revive and Barrier, you get a massive shield, you get a really good heal over time, but more importantly, when this is slotted, you get 10% more Magicka regen, which actually does make a difference. So, if you don't have anything, this is a really good option. Now, I said some flex skills and things you could change. So, if you want to switch it up a little bit, what you can do is change Leech and Strikes for a skill of your choosing. If you fight other Nightblades, go into Mark Target, and using Piercing Mark is incredibly good. You can put this here, you can pull Nightblades out of stealth. That is really helpful. If you find Staying Alive a bit difficult, however, you could go down to Vigor, and then get Resolve and Vigor, and use that instead. So you've got access to a heal over time and Rally. Equally, you could take Cloak off and put Mark Target on there. Alternatively, another good option, this takes a bit of practice however, is use Summon Shade and use Shadow Image. This lets you teleport to it when you recast it. You need to be somewhat near it though, but this is really nice should you make a mistake. So those are kind of the skills that you could change about there. I personally just leave it Leech and Strikes on. It's nice to have the free sustain, it does help, but it's not needed. As with kind of consumables and what you need food-wise, we've already said which Sugar Skulls and potions, it's just Tri-Stat. It's nothing fancy. We need the Magicka to cloak, we need the stamina to do damage, it's really simple, and the health is good anyway. So Tri-Stat potions are the best for this, guys. Now, before we get into the gear, if you are liking this video, do make sure that you are liking the video, it really helps. I'm curious, can we get over 500 likes? That'd be absolutely nuts. But with the gear, it's going to be different for today. I've gone through, as I said at the start of the video, and tested many setups. So I'm going to tell you what each setup is good for, and you can pick what's right for you, okay? My favourite setup is Darlock Bray, 1 Krog, and Swamp Raider with the speed ring. So I'm going to show the loadout now. We use Darlock Bray bow sharpened. The glyph can be whatever you like. Shock is probably the best. Foulness is incredibly good as well. Battle Axe Darlock Bray, I like this on both bars in all honesty. Krog, Divines for all the armor as you can see, and all stamina. It doesn't matter the loadout on this, as long as you have 5 Krog active, 5 Darlock Bray active, you are absolutely fine. We do have the shoulders as Darlock Bray, or they could be Swamp Raider. So 5 Swamp Raider, 5 Darlock Bray, 1 Krog. The speed ring and all the jewellery is infused weapon damage. If you haven't got the infused trait, you do need to get it. It makes a massive difference. So honestly, do get this. and purple jewelry is a minimum. In all honesty, our damage is, we're trying to push it as high as we can get it. Now the advantage of Swamp Raider is this. Swamp Raider, if we go to the tooltip, it buffs our poison abilities by 600. Now that 600 is 600 weapon damage on the skill, so that does get buffed by brutality and stuff, which is really, really nice. So it's basically like 800 weapon damage, which is really, really powerful. What does that mean? It means lethal arrow hits harder. It means poison injection hits harder. These are our main damage skills, so this is really, really good for this. It also means that you could go down to the bow ultimate and put this on. This is disgusting. When we're buffed up and stuff, you can see this just with rally is 82k with 35,000 dot. We have no CP and Thaumaturge and stuff. This can go over 100k with the Vampire Toggle on and all the buffs. This is really, really nasty. It's like a guaranteed kill. If you do put Toxic Barrage on this though, you do need to get an assassination ability on that bar. So I'd recommend going with Piercing Mark or Relentless Focus. Relentless Focus does give you access to the Spectral Bow, which is really nice. And it also means that you do get bonus critical damage, which again is really, really nice. I personally, however, prefer Incap as of late. I like having that kind of hit them hard at point blank and just melt them instantly. And you're probably thinking, if I'm using Incap, would point blank be really good? And I've actually tried it. This is terrible. Don't use this, okay? So don't use that. So that is Swamp Raider and Dark Bray. I've also gone through and I've also tested other sets like Spriggans, Marksman, Archer's Mind. I've also tested New Moon as well. So I'm going to give you kind of the overview of what is each one really good at, and then you can pick it kind of how you see fit. The most damage setup is Swamp Raider. If you use Swamp Raider, this will give you the hardest hitting snipe and poison injection. If you use New Moon, you have the second hardest hitting snipe, but the advantage is that New Moon means you can slot the fighter skilled ability, Silver Shards, and this means you actually have more burst. Silver Shard hits harder than poison injection even if they're at lower health, so this will hit harder for burst wise, but I personally find that Swamp Raider is just more consistent just because that dot on poison injection, that passive execute helps you confirm the kills. There are times when I'm thinking, I might not get the kill because I roll dodge, but this dot just helps me confirm it. So poison injection with Swamp Raider is incredibly good. The only issue with using New Moon though, as we were saying, is that New Moon does have the issue of costing you more skills, more resources, so that does really hurt. So if you want to kind of go with Silver Shards or with physical weapons, you could drop Swamp Raider and you could actually go with Archer's Mind. That was the next highest damage setup. So Archer's Mind is incredibly good, and with this we get 56% crit chance, which is huge. So we read like crit all the time. So in order of kind of the most damage, Swamp Raider if you're using poison injection, or New Moon if you're using Silver Shard. Swamp Raider gives you poison injection for the execute. Swamp Raider is pure burst. Second to all of that is Archer's Mind. Marksman then came next, and then Spriggans. So it's in that order. So all of these are really good sets. There's very little damage between them, but trying to push the damage, you want Swamp Raider, New Moon, or Archer's Mind. And as we said, make sure Dark Bray is always active. Make sure you got 5 pieces of the other set, and you're absolutely fine. If you got any questions about how do I lay this out, if you go onto www.unifiedgaming.org, there is also a written guide there to help you out. So do check that out if you haven't already. But that is the gear. I hope that really helps and kind of gives you an idea. For me, and just for versatility, Dark Bray and Swamp Raider is the best in Stonethorn and in Markarth. That could be changed though with the changes coming, so I will retest it. Now for champion points and kind of what you need CP wise, I've gone through like I do always. I've min-maxed this for my playstyle. I made a few tweaks. So feel free to pause it wherever you see fit. And if you are liking this video, then do make sure that you are giving it a like, and do check that you are subscribed. I know that many of you watching right now are still not subscribed, even though you watch our videos, which is hilarious. But that's the CP. It's min-maxed down for me. You could move this onto here, but I just like the extra healing. And then the last thing I do in all of my videos is just tips and tricks and kind of things to do. And I'm actually going to mix it up this time. Rather than spend it in this video, I'm going to refer you to my next video, which is how do you play the sniper. So there's a video coming on the channel, so do make sure you are subscribed to it, where I'm going to show you the gameplay from a Battlegrounds match and some Cyrodiil, and then kind of highlight, what am I doing, why am I doing it, and really explain how to play this build properly with real gameplay like examples. So do make sure that you are subscribed and you do catch that, because that will really, really help you out. But I'm going to actually wrap this one up here. I've gone on long enough. I want to say a huge thank you to all our Patreons. Like, your support allows me to make these videos, so it's really, really appreciated. And if you want to support myself and the channel, there is a link in the description. But as I said, this is long enough. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care and bye.